Have you ever wondered why a single tear can feel like it's carrying the weight of the world, a silent cry that echoes through your soul? What if those salty drops hold the key to understanding who we are, a hidden language of emotions that's been with us since the dawn of humanity? Buckle up, because today we're plunging into the wild, uncharted science behind tears, why we cry, what they're made of, and how they might just be the secret to unlocking the deepest mysteries of our minds. Hit that like if you're ready to dive deeper than ever before into this emotional abyss, and let's unravel it together. Think of crying as your body's ancient alarm system, a reflex as old as our first ancestors huddling against the cold. It's not just a reaction, it's a survival trick, a way to signal distress or joy when words fail. We're talking about a phenomenon that sets humans apart, a gift no other animal shares in quite the same way. Sure, a dog might whimper or a monkey might screech, but only we let emotional tears stream down our faces, triggered by everything from a heartbreak to a baby's first laugh. Scientists have been scratching their heads over this for ages, but fresh insights from the last year show it's more than a quirk, it's a superpower, evolved to keep us connected and resilient. Picture your eyes as tiny wells, spilling over when life gets too heavy, like a dam breaking to let the floodwaters cleanse the land. Let's break it down. Why do we cry in the first place? Imagine tears as your personal emergency crew, rushing in when your emotions hit a breaking point. There are three kinds, each with a job as critical as a lifeguard on a stormy beach. First, basal tears, the unsung heroes that keep your eyes moist, sweeping away dust and grime like a steady breeze over a desert. Without them, your vision would turn into a sandy blur. Then there are reflex tears, the quick responders that gush out when you chop an onion or get a lash in your eye, flushing irritants away to shield your sight. But the real magic lies in emotional tears, those heart-driven floods that pour out when you're moved to your core. These aren't just water, they're a rich brew, loaded with stress hormones like cortisol and natural painkillers like leucine and kefalin, acting like a chemical detox to reset your mind. Think of your brain as a pressure cooker, simmering with feelings, grief from a loss, rage at an injustice, or pure joy at a reunion. If that pressure doesn't escape, it could boil over into sleepless nights or a racing heart. Crying is the release valve, letting the steam out in a way that calms the chaos. A study from earlier this year at the University of Queensland showed how crossing that emotional edge triggers a surge of oxytocin and endorphins, those feel-good chemicals that wrap you in a warm hug and stitch your frayed nerves back together. It's your body whispering, "We've got this, let's wash it away." And here's the kicker. Emotional tears are thicker, packed with proteins that make them linger on your cheeks, almost begging someone nearby to notice and lend a hand. That no fluke, it's evolution's way of turning a moment of weakness into a call for connection. Drop in the comments, have you ever felt a weight lift after a good cry? Tag a friend who's seen you through those tears, because this is where it gets personal. Threads from health experts this year are buzzing with the idea that tears of joy carry a different chemical signature than those of sorrow, acting like a liquid mirror to your inner world. One viral post from a Sydney-based therapist noted that, as we get older, our tear production dips, which might explain why bottling them up can leave us feeling foggy or tense. It's urgent stuff. Ignoring that urge could mean missing out on nature's built-in reset. Now, let's zoom into the current wave of discovery, where scientists are turning tears into epic tales of triumph and tension. Meet researchers like those at the University of Sydney, who, in a 2025 breakthrough, explored how emotional tears strip away our masks, revealing raw feelings that words can't capture. Picture a lab in Melbourne, where a team this year dissected crying as a physiological marvel, triggered by everything from heartbreak to a dusty room, always aiming to bring balance back. These aren't detached eggheads, they're storytellers, sharing near misses like the time they almost missed the higher stress hormone levels in emotional tears, only to realize it was the clue to why crying feels so freeing. Take the latest findings from the Australian Institute of Health. Crying ice and tea, just about coping. It's a social magnet, drawing others in to share your burden and turn solitary pain into collective strength. Clips from wellness coaches are lighting up with real-life tales, like how tears flush out cortisol, that sneaky stress hormone, right from your system. A post from a Brisbane neuroscientist this month broke down the autonomic nervous system twist. Crying flips you from fight or flight to rest and digest, explaining that clear-headed calm after a sob session. It's a narrative of evolution at its finest. Think of our ancestors using distress signals that morphed from loud cries to silent tears, forging bonds in the face of danger, a close call. Early theories brushed tears off as pointless, but recent brain mapping of the periaqueductal gray shows it's the command hub for those soul-shaking sobs. And the weird discoveries keep rolling in. Happy tears. A 2025 report from The Conversation highlighted them as a homeostasis trick, pulling us back from emotional peaks to steady ground. X threads are ablaze with shares about tears as structured water, almost like a healing elixir, tracing paths to your lips. It's tense, thrilling work, researchers racing against doubters, with private funding pouring in billions, as one psychologist's thread noted, flipping skepticism with fresh insights from health hubs this year. These pioneers aren't just in labs, they're in us, every time a tear falls and brings relief. Looking forward, the possibilities are electrifying. What if cracking the science of tears could transform mental health? Optimistic visions, CAI simulations, sifting through massive tear datasets to predict emotional crashes before they strike, paving the way for early interventions. Skeptics argue the tech's not ripe, but a report from last month turned that around with breakthroughs in nerve signaling that trigger those healing floods. Imagine apps scanning your tears via phone cameras, spotting hormone imbalances tied to anxiety, or even crafting bioengineered endorphin boosts to ease chronic stress. It's rooted in evolution tears as social glue, strengthening bonds to fight isolation in our screen-heavy world. Challenges like funding gaps linger, but X-chatter from this year shows private billions flowing in, echoing reports on submolecular prototypes decoding tear patterns with stunning accuracy. This could ripple further, a climate of the mind where understanding crying builds empathy in fractured societies, or medical leaps using tear compounds for pain relief without drugs. We're on the cusp of this, and you'll wonder what emotional gold we left buried. Would you join a tear study trial? Share below, your input could ignite the next leap. Now, let's spin a bold what-if tale, cinematic and awe-inspiring, where tears become humanity's salvation. Meet Dr. Ayesha Patel, a visionary neurobiologist in a humming 2040 lab in Perth, her gaze locked on a holographic swirl of tear data. She's on the edge, her team crowded around a device that captures emotional tears, distilling them into a serum to mend shattered minds. Picture the scene. A young woman, broken by grief, steps into the chair. As memories flood her, tears stream, collected and analyzed by AI that outshines any rival. The serum flows back, flushing cortisol, amplifying endorphins, rewiring trauma-scarred paths. Ayesha watches, pulse racing, as the woman's face softens from despair to serenity, a glow defying science whispering eons-old secrets. Tension mounts, funding wavers. Critics claim tears can't rewrite destiny, but Ayesha presses on, driven by our timeless quest for connection, her own tears fueling the charge. In a stunning twist, the serum scales globally, shared through networks, turning loneliness into waves of unity. Societies heal, conflicts fade in shared sobs, and energy from emotional release powers empathetic breakthroughs. It's plausible, backed by today's trends, models showing tears as signals for aid, evolving from cries to miracles. Picture a world where crying isn't shame, it's power, unlocking potentials we never dreamed of. This dive into tears has flipped how I see vulnerability. It's not a crack, but our strongest link, a thread in humanity's fabric of curiosity, survival, and growth. In a world racing ahead, crying reminds us we're alive, tied together, and capable of wonders. Smash subscribe for more journeys into the unknown. Drop your wildest tear theory below, and share this with your squad, because the science of crying calls, and who knows what depths you'll uncover next.